Hi guys, so this video will be a quick one just showing you my arrangement of the Jazz Standard Satin Doll by Duke Ellington. So this is quite a nice little arrangement that combines some modern jazz piano sounds with some more traditional sounds and techniques as well. Now, as always, find the sheet music to this linked in the description. So grab a copy of that and then you can watch along and play along. Cool, so firstly it goes like this. Cool, so it is a standard 32 bar AABA form in the key of C major. Now we start the song with quartal voicings, or a so what voicing to be more specific, and we're harmonizing the melody as we play. So we're playing chords along with the melody note and underneath and supporting the melody note. And quartal voicings are chords that are primarily built from the interval of a perfect fourth, although occasionally sometimes we have a diminished fourth, which is a major third, or an augmented fourth, which is a tritone, but primarily we're using perfect fourths. And quartal chords give a nice modern jazz piano sound. Modern jazz, especially after the 19th or the 60s and 70s, use these quartal voicings a lot, and even contemporary jazz today you're going to hear a lot of quartal chords. So we start off with these quartal voicings. Then we repeat that exact same phrase a whole step higher. And then we play these nice, thick, dense harmonies over the A minor and A flat minor. And they're 6-note voicings, so they're very full and rich. And again, we're harmonizing the melody, so the melody is on top. And we're finishing on a C major 6-9 chord, again with a quartal voicing. So you've got the C at the bottom, and then this part at the top are all just perfect fourths. Then you've got a little turnaround essentially, taking you through to the next A section, and I just used rootless voicings for the little 2-5 to take you back to the 1. Then it repeats. Now here the chord progression changes a little bit, so we don't do those quartal chords anymore, but we still have a very, very similar chord voicing. Again, we've got the C down the bottom filling out the bass, and then the G at the top as the melody note. And then we're going to put the other notes of the harmony in the middle here to fill out the rest of the chord. This time it's just going to be a C major 9, so we're going to have the 3rd, 7th, and 9th in the middle. And we're going to walk up this entire chord shape by step to follow the chord progression. Right, so it's the exact same chord voicing and shape, just starting on that C chord, moving up to the D minor chord, and then chromatically through E flat minor to E minor. Right, so both those section A's, lots of open chords, lots of quartal chords, lots of nice, thick, heavy, dense, full, rich harmonies. That gives it a really interesting, I think quite a modern sound, but definitely quite a balanced and pleasant sound. Because we're spreading out our chords over a number of octaves, and we do have that sort of low bass line going on. Does give a nice, full, balanced sound. For section B, the melody goes up and down by step, which is a perfect opportunity to employ the locked hands technique, which is exactly what I did. So this is essentially where we harmonize every single melody note and do so by alternating between the one chord, or the tonicized, the fake one chord, which is the G minor 7 in our case, and its related dominant chord that has been diminished, substituted. So E flat diminished or C diminished in this case. So it creates a kind of 5-1-5-1 feel to it and movement to it, but the 5 chord we have diminished, substituted. So actually we're alternating between our fake 1 chord, the G minor, and a diminished chord, in our case E flat diminished or C diminished or A diminished, whichever inversion you happen to be playing it in. And the left hand is just doubling the melody an octave lower, kind of just to bookend the harmony in the middle. And for that 2-5, I'm just using rootless voicings again. Before the next part of section B plays the exact same melody, so we're going to use the exact same technique, but a whole step higher. And then rootless chords again for the little 2-5, taking you back to the next A section. Now we've got one more A section to finish the song. So we could just go back and use that same arrangement we played for the first 2 A sections, but that's a little bit boring. Then essentially 3/4 of the song that you just played is exactly the same, with the same arrangements and the same melody and the same chords. So it gets a little bit boring. So instead, for the final A section, did a little bit of a 180-degree turn, and instead of having that modern sound, instead, we went all the way back in time to the early 20th century and used a traditional jazz piano technique, which is stride piano. And in our case, we're doing a very, very simple stride where we're playing the root note in the bass on beats 1 and 3, and just the shell chord, the guide tones, the 3rd and the 7th of the chord, higher up in the middle range of in the middle part of the piano on beats 2 and 4, and kind of alternating between those 2 things. Now, stride piano is one of, if not the first technique used in early jazz, and that's partly because it grew, partially at least, out of ragtime music, which used a lot of this stride piano feel, but with a straight rhythm rather than a swung rhythm. So the stride piano gives a very old school traditional jazz feel, which contrasts nicely with the very beginning of the song, the first 2 A sections, which, because of those quartal voicings, give a more modern sound. So we're playing the same section, just in different parts. The first 2 A sections give a very modern sound. The last A section gives a very traditional sound, creates a nice contrast. And in the right hand, instead of just playing the melody as written, I'm just harmonizing it with plain old thirds. Very, very simple, nothing too interesting going on here. But because the stride piano is a little bit sparse, the harmonized melody helps fill out some of the empty space. So that's stride piano all the way through the final A section, and then the final C chord, our final one chord, we go back to playing it as a quartal chord, but I break it up, play a broken chord, essentially an arpeggio of the quartal chord, all the way up to the sharp 11, which is an available tension over a C major chord, but it's a very dissonant tension. It creates quite a bit of well, dissonance and tension and a little bit of harshness and spikiness and spiciness to the sound. So it sounds like this. So I'm playing the full C6-9, I suppose it's a C6-9 sharp 11 chord, and then I'm just playing it one note at a time. So C, G, E, A, D, G, C, F sharp, all with the sustain pedal to kind of build up that tension and just let it sit there and kind of hang there in the air and slowly dissipate, all the way up to that F sharp, which is the sharp 11, and then let it hang there in the air, gradually take your pedal off, and then that's the end. Cool, I hope you enjoyed that video and that little arrangement. Do go grab the sheet music linked in the description, have a go yourself. As I said, I think this is a nice little arrangement that contrasts modern and traditional jazz piano styles. And it's quite interesting to listen to because it's so varied, because it uses so many different techniques, including quartal chords, open chords or spread voicings, locked hands, stride piano, and that nice dissonant quartal arpeggio up to the sharp 11 at the end to build that dissonance on the one chord, on the tonic chord, and then just leave it there unresolved really. Cool, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.